अंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवा सादिका और भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्यामा कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्याम वेद भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Hare Lord. नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे Chaitanya Kendra Das. Hare Krishna. Today we are reading Canto 3, Chapter 16, Text 22. So this chapter is entitled Jaya and Vijaya Curse by the Sages. So Jaya and Vijaya were cursed by four Kumaras, which were Brahmaji's Manasputra. And then what they did, and what is the condition, that's what we are discussing here. Mostly we are discussing the prayers by the four Kumaras to Supreme Lord Vishnu. So I will read the verse 3 times and then we can recite that. Dharma shate bhagavad stitri yoga tribhisve padbhishcharacharam idam dvijadevatartham nonam vratam tad Bighati rajastamas satve nano vardaya tanuva nirashya dharma shate bhagavate striyog tribhisve padbhischara charamidam dvijadevatartham nonamritam tad abhighati rajastamasya Satve nano vardaya tanuva nirashya dharma shate bhagavata striyoga tribhisve padbhish characharam idam dvijadevatartham nonam vratam tad abhighati rajastamascha satve nano vardaya tanuva nirashya. Please recite. Anyone wants to recite?
Dharmasya te bhagavatasthriयुगत्रिभिस्वै padbhischaracharam idam dvijadevatartham nunam vritam tad abhighati rajastamascha satvena no varadaya tanuva nirasya.
Dharmasya te bhagavatasthriयुगत्रिभिः स्वै प्रभिश्चराचरम् idam dvija devatartham nonam vritam tad brighati rajastamascha satvena no varadaya tanuva nirasya. Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dharmasya te bhagavatas triyuga tribhihi swahe padbhischaracharam hidam tvij devataраtham nunambritam tad abhikati rajastamasya satvena no vardaya tanuva nirasya. Krishna, thank you.
Anyone else? We can. I forgot to say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, so I will start now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasa ततो जाय मुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भगवत भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी शृणुतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तन हृदयन्तस्थो हि अभद्राणि विदनोति सुहर्षताम्. So I will read that word to word translation. Dharmasya, of the personification of all religions, te, of you, Bhagavataha, of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Tri Yuga, you who are manifest in all three millenniums, Tribhihi, by three, Sway, your own, Padbhi, feet, Chara Acharam, animated and inanimate, Idam, this universe, Dvija, the twice born, Devata, the demigods, Artham, of, for the sake of, Nyunam, however, Vratam, protected, Tat, those feet, Abhigati, destroying Rajaha, the mode of passion, Tama, the mode of ignorance, Cha, and Satvena, of pure goodness, Naha, unto us, Varas Daya, bestowing all blessings, Tanuva, by your transcendental form, Nirashya, driving away. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O Lord, you are the personification of all religion. Therefore, you manifest yourself in three millenniums, and thus you protect this universe, which consists of animated and inanimated beings. By your grace, which is of pure goodness and is the bestower of all blessings, kindly drive away the element of Rajas and Tamas for the sake of demigods and twice born. Purport. The Lord is addressed in this verse as Tri Yuga, or one who appears in the three millennium, namely the Satya, Dwapar, and Treta Yuga. He is not mentioned as appearing in the fourth millennium, or the Kali Yuga. It is described in Vedic literature that in the Kali Yuga he comes in Channa avatar, or an incarnation, but he does not appear as a manifested incarnation. In the other yugas, however, the Lord is a manifest incarnation, and therefore he is addressed as Triyugi, or the Lord who appears in the three yugas. Sridhar Swami describes Tri Yuga as follows. Yuga means a couple, and three means three. So the Lord is manifest as the three couples by his six opulences, or the three couples of opulences. In that way, he can be addressed as Tri Yuga. The Lord is the personality of religious principle. In three millennium, religious principles are protected by three kinds of spiritual cultures, namely the austerity, the cleanliness, and the mercy. The Lord is called Tri Yuga in that way also. In the age of Kali, these three requisites to spiritual culture are almost absent. But the Lord is so kind that in spite of Kali Yugas being devoid of these three spiritual qualities, he comes and protects the people of this age in his covered incarnation as Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is called covered because though he is Krishna himself, he presents himself as a devotee of Krishna, not directly Krishna himself. He presents himself as a devotee of Krishna, not directly Krishna. The devotees pray to the Lord Chaitanya, therefore, to eliminate their stock of passion and ignorance, the most conspicuous assets of this yuga. In the Krishna conscious movement, one cleanses himself of the modes of passion and ignorance by chanting the holy name of Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, as introduced by Lord Chaitanya. The four Kumaras were cognizant of their situation in the mode of passion and ignorance, because although in Vaikuntha they wanted to curse devotees of the Lord, since they were conscious of their own weakness, they prayed to the Lord to remove their still existing passion and ignorance. The three transcendental qualities, cleanliness, auspiciousness, and the mercy, are the qualification of the twice born and the demigods. Those who are not situated in the quality of the goodness cannot accept these three principles of spiritual culture. For the Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, there are three sinful activities which are prohibited, namely illicit sex, intoxication, and eating food other than the prasadam offered to Krishna. These three prohibitions are based on the principles of austerity, cleanliness, and mercy. Devotees are merciful because they spare the poor animals, and they are clean because they are free of contamination from the unwanted food stuff and unwanted habits. Austerity is represented by restricted sex life. These principles indicated by the prayers of four Kumaras should be followed by the devotees who are engaged in Krishna consciousness. Om Gyan Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunimitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. So we are continuing here prayers of the four Kumaras. Actually, they are praying to Lord Narayan, because we are already studying every single day that the Lord, when Kumaras came, they were restricted entry to the Vaikuntha Lok by Lord Vishnu's doorkeepers, Jai and Vijay. So at that time, Lord knew what is going on at the door, so he ran there along with Mother Lakshmi, and he came there and he told the Kumaras that I'm sorry that this thing happened, and it's my mistake. Actually, my doorkeeper should not do like this, and whatever curse you gave them, I approve this, and the mistake of my servants is my mistake actually, and so he accepted everything, and Kumaras actually could not understand that he's happy or he's not happy. So what I should do? So let us see what Kumaras were thinking. So they actually were thinking that although Lord is so happy, but they actually cursed his own devotees, so how he can be happy? But they concluded that somehow the other Lord is pleased. So they started requesting to the Lord, they started praying to the Lord. So these prayers are between in the shloka number 16 through 25. So in the 16th shloka, they are saying, we read that we are unable actually to know what you intend for us to do, what we should do. Actually, we don't know that. Although you are supreme, but you are actually speaking in our favor, as if we have done something very good. And actually, we know that they didn't do anything good, they actually messed up everything, because Jai Vijay were his personal servants, and they were very great devotees actually. So they didn't deserve this kind of punishment. But anyway, so they gave, and they didn't resent about it. They say, all right, whatever this Kumara said, we will accept them. They just prayed to him that please make sure that even we go to the material world, but we should remember Krishna all the time. We should never forget him even for a moment. So that was their greatness, that they are requesting like that. So if we also do the same thing in any activity, any work, whatever we do, remember Krishna all the time. We can meditate on him. We should pray to the Lord that we all the time remember you. In any condition, we should not forget. It's happiness or distress or whatever condition we are, we should remember Krishna always. And And then they are praying that you are respecting the cows and the Brahmans so much and the Vaishnavas so much, and that's you are setting up a actually example. This is very exemplary that you are saying that demigods, that my dust of my feet actually will not work without the Brahmans blessing on me. So he thinks, that that Brahmans are more superior than even the Lord Krishna. That's why he thinks, but he said that's not possible, because you love the Brahmanas, and that's why you actually respect them so much, and that's why they are great, But you are actually great, and you are protecting this dharma. Because Lord comes in this material world every millennium, just to make sure the principle of dharma is established and they are protected properly. So that's why Lord comes here all the time and try to kill the demons and all the different kind of elements, which are disturbance to the society. So he kills them, and also he establishes good king, so people can be happy, and then they follow the religious principles and stay like that. So, and they are praying that by the Lord's mercy alone, these yogis can cross this naissance of this material world. And also, many people, in last verse we read about Lakshmi Devi, that you are not attached to Lakshmi Devi, you are more attached to your own devotees. So see how Krishna is great, that he loves his devotees so much that even Lakshmi Devi, which is his consort, he doesn't care, but he cares about the devotees. He does everything for the devotees, whatever they need. And he tries to make every devotee, and he feels so much obligated, like many devotees, like Braj Gopis, Krishna says that I cannot pay you back whatever you are doing for me. So we can see, how Krishna puts examples in the society that we should be having the gratitude. Anybody does anything to us, for us, we should be great. We should be gratify him, that thank you for doing this. Many times we think, my son is doing this thing, or my friend is doing this thing, that's his duty, because I'm big guy like that. So we should not think that Krishna is the master of all the material world and spiritual world, but still he's thankful to so many of his devotees, and he actually thinks that I'm lower than them. And many times he comes and help, like Arjuna. He became driver of Arjuna. He actually helped Bali Maharaj, he became doorkeeper. So he will not even refuse for doing even a menial work, but he somehow or the other protects the principles, religious principles, and tries to help the devotees many ways. So let us read the translation one more time and then discuss the purport. So, O Lord, you are the personification of all religion. So actually all religion comes from Krishna. Dharmastu Sakshat Bhagavad Pranito. So all dharma comes from the Lord. Anybody cannot make any religion or any dharma like that, because and therefore you manifest yourself in 3 millennium, and thus you protect this universe. So Lord comes in the 3 millenniums. All 3 millenniums he comes and he protects the religious principles all through the universes, which consist of animated and inanimated beings. So all the many animated and inanimated things comes from Krishna. By your grace, which is the pure goodness, and is the bestower of all the blessings. So here the Kumaras are praying, Lord, that you please drive away the Rajas and Tamas, which is present in us, so that we can be at least on the platform of the sattva guna, and then we can be good devotees like that. Because see, in this shloka before we read that even though the Jay and Vijay, they were not Jay and Vijay, 4 Kumaras, they were at the gate of the spiritual world and in trying to enter but they had still had the anger and all those Satvikar, so they became angry. So they should not have any anger actually when you are entering the spiritual world, because all the 6 vikars should go away before you enter. So that's why they were actually stopped by the 4 Kumaras. So although they were in Vaikuntha, they wanted to curse the devotees. And how the curse came in their mind, even into curse the pure devotees of the Lord who are serving the Lord, how they should. So that was wrong on their part. And that's why so in this shloka we can see there are 4 things, discussed more prominently. One thing is the Lord's attachment to the devotees, how much he likes his devotees, like he, Jay and Vijay, what he did, we can see in this chapter. So he's deeply attached to his pure devotees. So even he likes more to devotees than Mother Lakshmi itself. So we can see his preferences actually in this connection, that spiritual connection, that he likes more to the devotion rather than the material wealth or anything. Lakshmi Devi is the goddess of material wealth. So, and also we can see here that his protection for his devotees. So the Lord actually is putting an example that leaders in the society must be protected, and the whole society should honor the Brahmanas and the saintly people and the Vaishnavas. Here we are seeing how Lord is actually respecting the Kumaras, although they were at fault, but still he was actually being respected by the Lord himself. So he protects the devotees actually. And other thing in this one is the Prabhupada is describing the actually the 4 principal pillars of religiosity, which is the austerity, cleanliness, and the mercy, and the truthfulness. So about this, that's why. And then he describes in the beginning of the purport about the 3 yugi, that Lord comes only 3 yugas, and he doesn't come in the 4th yuga. So actually he comes in the Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, but in Kali Yuga it's not described because he comes in the Channa Avatar, or hidden incarnation of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to come because he has so many 3 mainly internal regions and 3 external regions to come here, because Lord Chaitanya actually wanted to understand the greatness of Srimati Radharani, that why she loves me so much. That's why he wanted to see that what is the greatness of Radharani's love for himself. He never understood that, and that's why he came in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu too, in the form of Radharani, so he can understand that how much love she has. And second thing, he came for to taste his own sweetness, because why Radharani actually thinks that Krishna is so sweet. So he wanted to taste his own sweetness, because like sugar cane actually can never know how sweet he is unless he has to come as a human being and taste the sugar cane and know how sweet it is, So he wanted to taste his own sweetness actually. And the third internal region is he all the time sees the happiness of Radharani. That Radharani is all the time very happy. When Radharani sees Krishna, that Krishna is so happy, she becomes happy. And then seeing Radharani happy, Krishna becomes more happy. And then seeing more happy Radharani, then Krishna becomes happy. So this goes on like that eternally. And So he wanted to experience that happiness, that why Radharani is so happy. So these are the three main internal reasons for the Lord to come here. So here in the purport, Prabhupada is writing, the Lord is addressed here as Triyugi, or one who appears in the 3 millennium, in Satyuga, in Dwapar Yuga, and Triyuga, and Treta Yuga. So he comes in 3 different incarnations like that. And it is not mentioned here that he comes in the Kali Yuga. But in the Kali Yuga, Vedic literature describes that he comes in the Chanavatar or the hidden incarnation, but he does not appear as manifested incarnation. In other yuga, however, Lord is WhatsApp audio. Lord is manifested. Lord who manifestation, and therefore he is addressed at the yuga. So Sridhar Swami is making another kind of why Lord is called Tri Yuga, because he's that Lord. We all know that Lord has 6 opulences. So he said that there are 3 couples of his opulences. So 6 opulences he has, and if he 8, 2, 2, 2, so this way is the 3 couples of his 6 opulences, or the 3 couples of opulences. So in that way, we can address Tri Yogi. So the Lord is a personality of religious principles in 3 millennium. Millenniums, religious principles are protected by the 3 kind of. So Prabhupada is writing here that he comes in 3 millennium, but he protects the 3 different, because there are 4 pillars actually for the spiritual life. And each we are seeing, that how degradation comes, So in Satyuga, then Treta Yuga, and then Dwapar Yuga, one pillar is going down. And now in the Kali Yuga, we have only 1 pillar, because on the pillars, building the building of our spirituality stands. So if the pillars is the like the foundation of the house. So the foundation is weak, then the house of our spiritual life will not be very stable, not very strong. That's why it's important for us to know. So in the Kali Yuga now we see only truthfulness is staying. All 3 other things, is truthfulness and austerity, cleanliness. So austerity, cleanliness, and mercy, they all 3 are gone now. So only truthfulness is staying here, but by gambling, that's also going slowly. So it's that's why after Kali Yuga finishes, all these 4 pillars will be gone. So what happens actually? These 4 pillars are the foundation of the good life, good spiritual life. So this support these pillars, actually what we have to do, we have to follow the 4 regulatory principles. That's what we all the time say: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. So when we say that, so we are trying to protect these 4 pillars of spiritual life, because these activities destroy these pillars, and that way it really stops or hinders our spiritual growth. So what are these pillars? The truthfulness. So on the truthfulness, actually our honesty and our integrity in all the dealings stays, otherwise, if we not speak the truth, then we will, in our dealings, we will say lie, and everything gets a bad. What happens with austerity? With austerity means tap. So we are more, if we do the proper austerity, then we are more self-disciplined. And just like we have to do fasting on Ekadashi, which is coming tomorrow. So like that. So, and we control the senses, and we are more focused on spiritual goals. So that way, austerity. So austerity is equal to no illicit sex, and truthfulness is no gambling, and cleanliness is no intoxication, because when it's like physical purity, like we do bathing, or we eat vegetarian food, or we don't take any onions, garlic, even coffee or tea, no alcohol, that way. So that way we want to be pure, so we can do more service to the Krishna. Our brain is more clear. And the mercy is equal to no meat eating, because we have compassion for all the living beings, which actually leads us to be vegetarian nicely, and that way we protect animal. So because we have seen the picture in the Sri Bhagavad Gita, that if you kill, the cow is telling the guy, no, you kill me this life, and next life I will kill you. That because that way that man will be animal and he will be killed by some human being. So these principles actually help us to purify our proper consciousness, so we can be more concentrating on our sadhana bhakti. So we can easily focus on our chanting. That's the most important thing. So this, on these pillars actually whole society rests, and actually that's why they have so much value in our life. And we should, that's why our guru, when we take initiation, guru tells these four principles, and we have to promise in front of guru that I will follow these four pillars of truthfulness. And that's why we say no intoxication, no illicit sex, no meat eating, and no gambling. So that's why they are so important in our life, and we should actually follow them very sincerely, not like sometimes following, sometimes not following. Then only we can concentrate on the chanting. So what happens with no meat eating, or no, or fish, or eggs, or this? Because the killing of the animals actually destroy the quality of mercy. Our mercy goes away. And so we are actually, when we eat the meat, we are putting a dead animal in our body. So our intestine becomes a graveyard for that animal. But see, nowadays, when you tell the people, they even do not know where the meat comes from. They think, it's come from supermarket. That's why you ask any teenager, that's what he will saying, that, oh, we get the meat from supermarket. But they don't know what is how the animal is killed, and all those things, how the meat is packaged, and how mercilessly the animal is killed. So these things they do not know. So these animals actually, these meat products are saturated with modes of passion and ignorance, because mercy goes away with this. And that's why devotees do not offer any meat product to the Lord, because they cannot be offered. They are prohibited foods actually. And person who eat those foods, they are actually participating in the conspiracy to kill them actually, the violence. That's why people do so much violence nowadays, because they eat meat. So there is no mercy in their heart at all. And with the gambling, what happens? Truthfulness is destroyed completely. So gambling turns a person into a liar, a cheater. So, and so many casinos are opening here and there. Before in Pennsylvania there were no gambling spots, but now you can see everywhere they are popping up now. So gambling actually puts a human being in the great anxiety, and then increases the greed and envy and anger. So these things actually comes with the gambling. And what the intoxicant does, intoxication, we say no intoxication. What means that? Means, no tea, coffee, or any kind of drugs or alcohol. So these are the intoxication actually. They are not very difficult to understand, because we all know the effect on our body, how the alcohol, after drinking a lot of alcohol, people gets completely, they cannot think properly, and their whole brain gets very cloudy, and they speak the words, which are not good words to speak like that. And the drugs, we can see how the drug affects the human beings. So many people take the drugs in this material world, especially in America, and In India also, they started taking now too many drugs, So the drugs, I was doctor I was treating few patients, with the drug intoxication, how they behave and how they do it. Without taking drug, they cannot stay even 1 hour. They get so many side effects and like cravings for the drugs. They started sweating and their shakiness, their skin gets very cold, they're very sweaty. So all these symptoms comes in those human beings actually, and they need the drug right away. They cannot wait even 15 minutes. They will pace around here and there. In my office, they were standing, they will not sit on the chair. They will just pacing around till you come and give the drug, and they will go to pharmacy and fill up, and get it right away. So that is the way that people take intoxicants. And with those intoxicants, actually, their whole brain gets foggy and they cannot think properly what to do. So if we are actually serious in advancing our Krishna consciousness, we should not use any of these drugs. And illicit sex is also very bad, and which cleanliness actually, cleanliness destroys the illicit sex. Destroyed by the illicit sex. This includes actually illicit sex includes everything, except with your own wife and only for procreation. Other kind of sex, outside the marriage or for the purpose other than procreation, they are all illicit sex. Because once we have illicit sex, which is not required, then we are more pointing towards our bodily needs, so we are thinking we are in the bodily consciousness rather than spiritual consciousness. So our spiritual growth will hinder right there. So that's why we should not be in body consciousness, but on Krishna consciousness, actually. That's why Prabhupada taught us, and we should behave normally and think, what is my main important duty. Of course, in the Grahastha life, sex is permitted only for procreation, not for enjoyment or any other purpose than procreation. Yeah, devotees are allowed to have, if they are Grahast, have the Krishna conscious children, raise them nicely. It's a very nice thing actually to have the children, but not enjoying, not just for the bodily enjoyment. So this way, if we follow these principles properly, then we can actually progress in the spiritual life. So now let us go back to purport what Krishna is saying. These 4 Kumaras are cognizant of their situation in the mode of passion, ignorance. So as we all know, there are 3 modes: Sattvagun, Rajo, Gun, and Tamagun. So these are the 3 modes of material nature. And we all, as soon as we are born, we get into these 3 modes. And we can see here, those Kumaras, even though we are so saintly people, they were Manasputra of Lord Brahma, but still we can see that they have the Rajo and Tamo Gun. And that's why they cursed Lord's personal doorkeepers. So here, although Prabhupada is writing here, although they were in the Vaikuntha, look, they wanted to curse the devotees of the Lord. So this was their weakness actually. And so here we are seeing in this verse that they are praying here to the Lord that remove their still existing passion and ignorance, because they knew that they still have passion and ignorance. That's why they cursed the Jai and Vijay. So these 3 transcendental qualities, cleanliness, austerity, and mercy, are qualification of the twice born. So people who are twice born, like when we take initiation, at that time we get the new birth actually. That's why our spiritual master give us the new name. Qualification of the newborn and the demigods. So demigods also qualified devotees. Demigods also are devotees. Like when we get initiated, we become the devotee. So people who are not situated in the quality of goodness cannot accept these three principles of spiritual culture. So actually, we have to be at least in the goodness. If we are not in the mode of goodness, then we are not properly doing our bhakti, because it's a kind of place, where like we jump in the swimming pool, so there is a stage there. So this is the proper stage, like a spring hole, that we jump in the swimming pool. So when we jump in the bhakti, our bhakti mode, we have to have that kind of, at least we should be in the satguna, because if we are not in satguna, we cannot perform bhakti. And later on, once we start chanting, think seriously about the spiritual life, then we should go much above the sattva gun, because we have to be in the Shuddha Sattva. And after that Shuddha Sattva also, then we have to go to Vishuddha Sattva. So that way we slowly progress. We can progress to these modes, otherwise it's very hard to reach to the spiritual world. For Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, there are three sinful activities which should prohibited, namely the illicit sex, intoxication, and eating any food other than prasadam. So we should always eat prasadam. And for prasadam also, let me tell, many times what happens, in temple also, what we see, or in the houses also, that we think sometime that we take prasadam in little quantity in the plate and offer to the Lord. And then we bring that plate in the kitchen, and then we empty in those big vessels, like the whole prasadam. So actually that's not needed, because once we offer those vessels, dal or chawal or halwa or whatever it is, they all become automatically prasadam, So we need not to put it back in those things and mix it, It's not needed actually, but I've seen that many times in many temples. People follow that. They will bring it and mix it with the whole thing. But once we actually offer the Lord and Lord accept it, everything is prasadam then. Whatever is cooked and offered to the Lord, everything becomes prasadam. So we need not to take the trouble of doing that, and it's not needed. So these three prohibitions are based on the principles of austerity, cleanliness, and mercy. Devotees are merciful because they spare the poor animals. That's why devotees, like, they are merciful to the animals. They don't cut them, eat them. And they are clean because they are free from contamination of unwanted foodstuffs like onion, garlic, drugs, alcohol, like that, and unwanted habits. And austerity is represented by the restricted sex life. When we have restricted sex life, then we are promoting the austerity in our life. So these principles indicate by the prayers of four Kumaras should be followed by the devotees who engage in Krishna consciousness. So when we engage in Krishna consciousness, actually we should follow these principles, that we should always pray to the Lord like they are praying, and we should stay away from this illicit sex, intoxication, like gambling and meat eating, like these things. So what happens we have to get these three Rajogun at least, so what is the characteristic of Rajogun? With Rajogun, actually, the purity comes in our life, the knowledge comes, and the harmony, the peace of our life comes from Rajogun. Otherwise, we are very disturbed if we don't, or if we are not in Sattvagun. And happiness also comes, and freedom from the sin. We don't commit any sin, and we have proper control over our mind and our senses. So that's why Sattvagun brings these characteristics in our life. So what is the effect of Sattva Guna actually? Then we can advance more in spiritual life, and our brain have more clarity, and we have higher consciousness. And what happens with Rajas Guna actually? What are the characters? In Bhagavad Gita, actually, all the whole chapter, there is a whole chapter about these three gunas. So most of the people in this material world, we see like people who are doing business and things like that. So main thing is they are so ambitious. The people in Rajagun, they are very ambitious. They have so many desires, so much attachment to the family, to the money, everything. And they are restless, working from morning to evening, let me make more money, let me make more money like that. And they are looking for temporary happiness. And they have so strong urge to get that thing. So they will never be peaceful. They are always working, running here, running there. And that's the way and what is the effect of the Rajagun? It binds us to the karma more, karmic life. And then we get into the cycle of action and reaction up, because whatever actions we do, we get equal and opposite reactions. So it actually drives us towards the material engagement, rather than spiritual consciousness. And we all know about the tamas, the ignorance, what happens, because the whole problem in this material world, not remembering the Krishna. So actually tamagun comes by the ignorance, because we identify ourselves as the body, not our soul. And Bhagavad Gita says that we are actually our soul, not this body, material body. So this ignorance is brought by the tamagun, and which is characterized by lethargy. We are so all the time lazy and do not want to do anything, and all the time try to live in darkness and madness, and they have delusions and always dissatisfaction, and they try to take intoxicant. And so that these are all the characteristics of tamagun, and it causes complete bondage to the sinful reactions, and which leads to our degradation and birth in the lower species of life. So that's what happens. So actually, our goal to understand these gunas, because we have to understand gunas and then gradually cultivate towards the sattva guna and mode of goodness, and then only we can go to Krishna consciousness. If we are in tamo guna, rajo guna, it's very hard actually to go to. So we have to cultivate the goodness in our life. Then we can transcend the goodness by engaging in the Krishna conscious activity, bhakti yoga, and we can go from there. So actually, if we are in Krishna consciousness as a devotee, we will be on, at least we are on in the mode of goodness, and then we should try to transcend these modes also and go to Shuddha Sattva. And then we can do bhakti from there. So we, as a devotee, actually live in this material world. And in this material world, Kumaras also have this, because of the effect of the gunas, so we all have 6 vikars in our body, Shat Vikar. And out of those Sat Vikar, actually, we have the most important is the envy, because envy comes first and envy is last to go. We can control our greed and lobha, moha, mad, everything. We can control these things, by bhakti, but envy doesn't go. We can see envy is even present in the devotees, among the devotees. So we think, how the envy comes actually in our. So envy is coming in our subtle body at the time of our birth actually. So when we die, what happens? Our gross body stays in this material world and mixes with the 5 main elements of this material world. Then our subtle body actually, which consists of the mind intelligence and the false ego. So this goes in the subtle body, and the subtle body goes to the Yamlok, and then Yamraj thinks, what we did in our life. But and accordingly we get next birth. But when we get next birth, our subtle body is still there. So our mind, intelligence, the ego, everything is there. And because of the ego, the envy stays in this life also with us. It doesn't go away. So this envy is, is automatically built in our body. So by bhakti only and nice chanting, we can get rid of the envy, but envy is very hard to get rid. And we should understand envy very nicely, because we can see so many examples in Srimad Bhagavatam that envy was there, and that was the main cause. So envy comes in a different stages, actually, different levels, I should say. And it's a very detrimental to our life. We can see even the devotees. Some devotee, is got good position in the management or something. Then they will say, this guy is so junior to me, people are actually worshipping him so much, and the people get envious. So that way, it's very bad actually to keep envy. Somebody is progressing, one should be happy that at least, I'm not doing that thing, but at least he's giving much better class than me, and he reads Bhagavatam and all the literature written by Prabhupada and all the other acharyas. He's reading so seriously, so one should get happy rather than getting envious. But this is going on. It is going on everywhere. Even one religious group will be envious to other religious group that my group is more better than that group. That group has this fault, or this sannyasi has this and this fault, and I don't have. So among devotees, among different spiritual groups, even they have this kind of tendency that I'm better than others. So that thinking I'm better than other, causes envy in our body, in our mind. And we can see even the little children, even 1 year old little boy, if some boy comes from neighborhood of his age, and if he has different toy, then our 1 year old boy will try to grab that child, isn't it? So he will try, because for him, it will look that he has more better tie, even though it may be more worse, but he will like to have that tie. Even our own siblings, two brothers, two sisters, how they fight, that I want his tie, I want his tie. So they are not happy with their own thing, but they will be happy with others' toy or something. So even children have that kind of tendency, and we see how the children fight in the family. Everybody sees that, everybody knows. So this this comes in the Bhagavatam also in many, many examples. Like we see Prathu Maharaj, when he was performing the 100th Ashwamedha Yajna, what happened? Indra got really worried that he will take my chair. So then he came himself and discussed this different forms, in like form of sadhu, and tried to steal the horse. So then Lord has to come himself and explain the Prathu Maharaj that if he wants his own chair, let him be. You just finish at 99th, don't perform 100th yajna. So, and Prathu Maharaj didn't have that idea anyway, that I want to take the chair of Indra, but Indra got scared himself. We have seen many times Indra will send some beautiful girl from the Indralok to just disturb anybody's tapasya, austerity, and that way, he cannot really become Indra. So he's all the time scared of this thing. Although he's a good devotee, that's why Lord gave him the position of Indra. But Indra had that kind of envy, so this envy is even in the demigods also. So Indra became very envious of Prathu Maharaj. His increasing power and his fame and everything, and he was worried. So what is the root cause of envy actually? It is desire to be superior. And I want to be exclusive enjoyer of the material resources. So that causes this kind of thinking, actually causes the envy. So actually, as I said, envy comes in the different levels, So there are 4 kind of envy. So first level, which is the milder kind of envy, mild, then more severe, and then more severe, and most severe. So first kind of envy is called matsarya. So matsarya envy is just internal jealousy, We don't express it outside. Like I may be envious to my brother having more money, but I will not express it outside or do anything, any action about that towards others' possession, my neighbor's possession, or his strength, that he is more famous, he has more strength than me. So that's known as Matsarya. Then more than Matsarya, if you have more severe than Matsarya, first stage, second stage is known as Dvesha. So here, when we hear that this guy has more money or more better house or this kind of thing, then we get anger in our body, we get angry and we try to resent upon seeing someone more superior than us. So we are expressing some more signs of advanced level of envy. And third level, which is more severe than Dvesh, is Asuya. So Asuya is given in the Bhagavad Gita in verse number 15th chapter, 50th verse. So at that time, we show the symptoms, more symptoms of envy. Like we express more verbally how anybody comes, we say, you do this and this is your fault. We become fault finder and we criticize other people. So those kind of envy, asuya. We have seen many people, how they find a fault. We all do that up to some level and we criticize others, and that way we try to prove that I am superior than other person. And the last kind of envy which is most severe, is khala. That envy is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 17th chapter 49th verse. So in this one, in the khala, what we become like a khalnayak, so we plan that how to execute harm against him. So like we can see, like queen, like the other queens of what is the name of the king? Maharaj Chitraketu. So Chitraketu's wives, co-wives, because Chitraketu had only one son after the mercy of the saintly people. They give him the child, and he was so happy, and he was actually all the time with his queen, which gave him the son. But other queens, were so jealous, so they gave him the poison to kill him. So, and also we can see the same kind of envy like in the Duryodhan. He gave poison to the Pandavas. So when we reach to that level, that's much worse. And this is known as khala. So what are the consequences of envy? That we lose our intelligence. And also our heart becomes very hard. And we take the destructive action in this. So there are so many cases study in like as I told you, like Duryodhan, how many things he did Pandava to kill them because he was envious to them. And he make the Lakshagraha, where they can be burned. They give poison to Bhima. So he did so many things. And we can see the Daksha Pradapati also. He was so envious to Lord Shiva. So what he did, then the Lord Shiva got Sati, which is his wife, which was the daughter of Daksha Prajapati. She killed herself, and then she was the associates actually killed everybody there, and they completely demolished the whole yagya process. And Daksha's head was chopped off, and the goat's head was replaced there. So these all things happen because of Daksha was having so much envy towards. And as we discussed already, Chitraketu Maharaj's co-wives, poisoning their stepson. So they did this. In Chaitanya Charitamrita also, there is another example of Ramchandra Khan, who was envious to Haridas Thakur and he wanted to put him down. So that's why he sent the prostitute there and just to discredit Haridas Thakur. That's why. And what happened ultimately? Ramchandra Khan was completely destroyed, complete fall down. His post was taken away, and then his whole village actually destroyed completely. So the envy has so many. So we should not have any envy actually towards anybody, and we should not criticize anybody, and we should just take care of our own sadhana, and actually we should see the good things in other people. That will be very helpful. So this envy is not prevalent only in worldly affairs, but within our community, different community, religious groups also, different organizations, it's there. So what is the solution of this envy? So we have to understand our true position as the servant, dasanu das, Krishna Nitya Das. So if we understand that I am the das, I am the servant, I am not the superior, I am not the master. So if we live that way and chant in that consciousness, then it can purify us and envy will go away. So actually because when we envy somebody else, we are in. Because that person also has the Paramatma. God is sitting in his heart as a Paramatma farmer. So actually we are having envy towards the Lord himself that way. So, or the plan of the Lord is different, And if you disturb that plan, that, okay, give this thing more to this person, he may be more religious or more better, or it may be he must have done more karma, good karma in our previous. So if Lord gives something more to somebody else, why we should be envious, Actually, we are disturbing Lord's plan. So we should think that way and be humble and think about our real position of Krishna Nitya Das. That way, if we chant in that consciousness, we will be doing bhakti more properly, and we will not have the trouble like those Kumaras had at the gate, and they cursed Jai and Vijay. But it was all Krishna's plan, and nothing happens without Krishna's sanction, anything in this material world. So we should actually just meditate on the Lord very seriously, and we can progress in the bhakti. Thank you very much. Time is almost there. Anybody has any comments, questions, we can discuss. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone wants to say anything or have any questions? So let us in here. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, we have to get rid of Sattva gunas, the Rajatama gunas.
Yes.
That is common in most of the people, Prabhu.
Yeah, these gunas, as soon as we are born, we get their effect. Yes.
And the more and more we grow up and getting rid of that, it's getting harder and harder.
Till we die, gunas will be with us. And then when we start new life, they again come there. So what to do? It's very hard.
Then try to get rid of this life so that we need not take it back.
That's why I suggested in all the religious literature that we should be at least in Sattva and then progress, transcend the Sattva also and go to Suddha Sattva.
Yeah.
Then we can do bhakti properly.
more and more I see in people, it's getting more and more. What they get or achieve in this, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the effect of Kali Yuga. And the more deeper we go in the Kali Yuga, those people will be more in those Tamagun and Rajagun, So we have to get out of this material world as soon as possible.
But what is the point if we are taking this Rajaguna and Tamaguna, with us to next life?
Yeah, very hard to get rid. But if we can have the spiritual life and then can go to Krishna, then in the spiritual world, these gunas are not there. It's only in the material world. So that is the only way to somehow or the other go in 1 lifetime, 2 lifetime, 3 lifetime, whatever it takes, but go there rather than rot in this material world.
I am so surprised. These 4 Kumaras, they know everything. They have good knowledge. They know everything. But how did they go to Vaikuntha and they had that anger with the doorkeepers, the way they behaved? But they know everything. They shouldn't be doing that.
Mm-hmm. What can be done is because they are still human being, still in the material world. So effect of those gunas will be there. So they also have Rajagun and Tamagun. And that's what they got angry otherwise. For those Kumaras, they were saintly persons. There is no question of anger and cursing somebody. Even when you are in the spiritual world, like going to entering the spiritual world at that place, That's why actually they were not able to enter the spiritual world. Because they still were affected by the gunas.
It's a beautiful chapter, this one.
Yes.
All the series, and every day the class is telling about this 4 Kumaras. So that is really, really a lot of things to know.
Yeah, we can learn a lot of things from them.
Yeah, can learn.
For sure. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
For a nice class. Thanks for giving me a chance to sing.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.